Hello and welcome to PrepEve, where we revolutionize how you prepare for IELTS. So, welcome to the second live lecture on the writing part. Let's wait for a few more minutes for everybody to join in and then we shall start the class. Hello Navpreet, how are you? Today's class is going to be about letter writing, so it would be more beneficial for the ones who are going to take the general training test. And we'll be having it for the academic students tomorrow, and it'll be about the task 1. Hello everyone. Today's agenda, as I've already mentioned, is regarding the task achievement for IELTS writing task 1. So, we'll be learning how to write an informal letter, and our special focus for today's session would be on task achievement. How do we achieve the task while we write our letters? Good evening, good evening. So before we move ahead quickly, we dealt with task achievement yesterday also, I mean in the last session, and it was about how well you take care of the task at hand, how well you answer to what the question is asking you to do. So today we'll be learning how we address each and every part of the question well. So, before moving on, a little about us. So, all the people who are joining us for the first time, I would like you guys to know that we have been training students in the IELTS test for about 3 years now, and we have students from more than 30 countries across the globe. Apart from that, 35,000 plus students have learned from our videos on YouTube, and we have taught more than 1200 students in our one-to-one courses, which are conducted on video calling on apps such as Skype or Zoom. And these are one-to-one interactive sessions, so there's just one trainer and one student, and all our trainers have a minimum experience of 2 years, and we are here to help you out with your journey in the IELTS test. All right, so significance of task 1. Today we are getting in touch with the letter writing, which is for the general training students. So for the GT test, the task 1 is letter, and it makes up to 33.33% of total writing band score. Now the total writing scores are 9, so you're scored out of 9 bands, and 3 are dedicated to your letter or your task 1, and the remaining 6 bands are dedicated to your task 2 or your essay writing. So today we'll be focusing on those 3 bands, and we'll try to score as much as possible in this particular task. It is easier to score well in task 1 and push your overall score because everything is given to you in the question. You don't really have to use your mind a lot because there are 3 bullet points, and those act as references for you and they guide your writing. So you have 3 bullet points and that would guide your writing. You would be in a position to frame your letter in accordance with those bullet points. So it gives you an edge because in case of your essay writing, you don't get those reference points or those bullet points, and you have to use your mind and think of ideas. A good task 1 will give you confidence for task 2. Yes, so when you start writing your writing test in the actual IELTS test that will be conducted, you start with your task 1, and if you complete your task 1 and if you're satisfied with what you have done in that, it will give you more confidence and you would be in a better frame of mind to complete your task 2. So try and write your task 1 as much as you can and as fast and as beautifully as possible. Last but not the least, it is easy and it has straightforward questions. So, yes, it has simple questions as if you're writing one letter to your boss or maybe to a neighbor or a friend, and the topics are very relevant. So, it's not something that's very difficult. And the questions are pretty straightforward because there are bullet points and you just have to answer them without beating around the bush. Okay, so this was the significance of task 1. Let's move ahead. Okay, so this is a screenshot of your task. This is a screenshot of your band descriptors, and it is showing you just the task achievement parameter from band 9 till band 3. We are not showing you below that because we don't want you to even look at those band scores. Let's aim for higher. So here the 3 to 9 band scores are given to you just for comparison and so that you have an idea of how with each and every band you have to improve one or two different things in your writing. Okay, so our target score range starts from 7 bands onwards, and 7 bands is usually what all the people desire. It's the average score that we want in our IELTS writing. So let's read out what is given in your band 7. So the first bullet point says that it covers the requirements of the task. Now, what do you mean by the requirements of the task? What are the requirements? So, requirements are basically those 3 bullet points itself, and you need to cater to each one of them. You need to tell and talk and discuss about each of the bullet points. Next, they have given what it means in the academic context. It presents a clear overview of main trends, differences, or stages. So, whoever here has joined us and is planning to take the academic test, this bit is just for them. So you would be basically required to give a clear overview of the main trends. So you see 2 graphs, you see 2 pie charts, you have to tell what are the main trends in those and what are the differences that you notice over the period of time or across genders. So this is what you'll have to be highlighting in your task 1. In case of general training or in case of our letter, you need to present a clear purpose. Why are you writing the letter? What is the purpose or reason of writing the letter? You should be very clear about that. With the tone consistent, so the tone has to be consistent. If the letter is informal, your tone has to be casual. If the letter is formal, your tone has to be formal in nature. It cannot be casual, it cannot be very friendly. So you have to keep it formal in case of a letter that is being written to someone who is in a position higher than yours, or if you might say in an authority position. All right, so then the next and the last bullet point in the 7 band score band score says that clearly presents and highlights key features, bullet points, but could be more fully extended. So here the but factor is really important. This but shows that why you did not score 8 or 9. So this is the reason why you did not score 8 or 9, because you did not fully extend your ideas or you did not fully extend your features. So this was lacking. If you add more points, if you elaborate and extend your answers, then definitely you can also score 8 and 9. So let's have a look at what it says in the 9 band score. The descriptor says that it fully satisfies all the requirements of the task. So when it says all, it means from A to Z, all the things that are asked in the question have been covered properly, and also clearly presents a fully developed response. It has been elaborated and fully extended. So comparing the 7 band score and the 9 band score writing, the difference majorly lies in the fact that you do not extend your writing properly, and that's the reason you're scored 7. If you cater to all the requirements of the task along with clearly presenting your ideas in extended form, in elaboration, and also when you fully develop your responses, in those cases you would be scored a 9 band score. Okay, and if you don't practice enough, if you do not understand these parameters and what are the band descriptors, you would end up scoring 4, 5, or 6 bands. And in case you're writing for the very first time, we can still digest the 4 band score. I mean, if your first writing is scoring 4 bands, it's still fine because you're unaware of the parameters, you're not sure what you have to do, you're new to the entire process of the IELTS test and especially of letter writing. Because come on, who writes letter these days? We all are addicted to social media, shorthand texts, and also emails. So we end up not being very elaborate in our writing, and we tend to not write letters anymore because of the advancement in technology. So now we have to inculcate this habit of writing in full sentences, elaborating our answers properly. And I'm sure, I reckon, I understand that we have lost that touch, but we have to bring it back. And trust me, after you practice 3 to 4 letters, that touch comes back and you're in a position to elaborate your answers, elaborate what the task is asking you to do properly. And if you score a 3 band score, your UK dreams will turn into Uttarakhand dreams here. So, yes, you should be targeting at least for a 7 band score, and it's super duper easy. All you have to do is answer to the question, just plain simple answering to what the question is demanding out of you in full sentences, elaborating and developing your responses properly. So I'll just stay here for a few more moments so that if you guys want to read this slide, if you want to go through the columns, you can go through them quickly, and you can also ask any questions if you have. All right. Okay, so I guess all of you are clear with regards to the task achievement parameter and how you would be scored. So let's move ahead then. So, what needs to be done to be in the target range? Now, our target range is above 7 bands, 7, 8, 9 bands, right? So, what should be done? What should we be keeping in our minds to get the target score? First of all, be clear about the type of letter that has to be written. As soon as you read the question, you should understand what kind of a letter is given to you. Is it a formal, informal, or a semi formal letter? So, you should be clear about these 3 kinds of letters. So, I'll quickly tell you what all these letters look like and give you the difference in each one of them. So, informal letter is any letter that you write to someone you know. Okay, any letter that is written to someone you know, a close relative, a friend, or a family member. So, that's an informal letter. A formal letter is written to someone who you share a formal relationship with, or who you share a professional relationship with. So whenever you're writing to, say, your professor, your director, manager, or your boss, you're writing you're writing a formal letter. You're basically conveying something in a formal manner. And when you're writing to someone who is not very close to you, in the sense you kind of have a formal relationship with them, a professional relationship with them, but you still know them very well, so in that cases it's a semi formal letter. For example, if you're writing to your landlord or your neighbor, now you know your neighbor, you see them quite often, maybe on a daily basis, but you don't have a very friendly relationship with them, you don't gossip around with them, you're not really good friends. So in that case it becomes a semi formal letter. And but because it's a neighbor or a landlord, you also have a formal relationship with them because you're paying your rent to them, and in that case it's a semi formal letter. So, informal, personal relation; formal, professional relation; semi formal is in between these two, where it's a formal relationship, a professional relationship, but you still know the person by their name. Okay, so write down the purpose of the letter right in the opening paragraph. That's our point two. So, this basically signifies that as soon as the reader is reading your letter, right in the beginning, they should know why this letter has been addressed to them. Why am I reading this letter? Why has this person sent this letter to me? They should have this clarity right in the beginning so that they don't waste their time by reading the entire letter and getting confused. Keep the tone consistent. If you're writing a formal letter, the tone should be formal throughout the letter. Don't use informal slangs in a formal letter. So, tone is very important. You are scored for the way you keep your tone in your letter writing. So your tone should be consistent. Now, in case of an informal letter, you should be using friendly tone and it should be casual in nature. It should not be very authoritative. It should not be very meek. It should be friendly in nature. So, whenever you're writing an informal letter, imagine writing it to your own friend. How would you write it? In the same manner, just write it here. Or if it's difficult for you to imagine how to write a letter to your friend, what you can do is imagine having a phone conversation with them. So, in case of a telephonic conversation, you would not start in a very formal manner by saying respected sir or madam. You'll call them and you'll be like, hello, how are you? Or dear so and so. That's how it is in the letter, but you get my point, that it should be casual in nature, it should be friendly in nature. Address all the bullet points sufficiently. So what do we mean by sufficiently? Sufficiently means that you should elaborate every bullet point. So every bullet point that's been given to you, you should be elaborating about it and developing the ideas in a considerable manner, so that all the parts of the bullet point and all the parts of the question have been responded to. Okay, example is that if the bullet point says that you have to suggest the solution to this problem, then you have to provide a logical solution to the problem that has been asked to you and explain a bit about how your solution can actually solve the problem. So give an example. So if they're asking you about the solution to some problem, you have to answer it with like two solutions. You can give two solutions that can be taken into consideration to solve that problem, and you can also add one example if it's feasible for you. Okay, so this is how you have to elaborate sufficiently. Gokul is asking whether we provide evaluation service. Yes, we do. We do evaluate answers, so you can send it to us. Okay, so yet again, putting everything into context, achieving task achievement, how to get a high score in task achievement. Let's have a look, be very clear here. What do we need to do to get at least a 7 band score in task achievement? Be with me here, you'll understand a lot more. Be clear about the type of letter. Okay, now this is very important, you have to identify the letter. Okay, what is the letter actually asking me to do? So you need to understand that. Is it asking me to write a letter to a senior, a junior, a neighbor, a landlord, a student, a friend, my sister, my relative? What is the letter asking me to do? Then you have to be clear about the purpose. Once you've understood to whom this letter is being addressed to, what kind of letter this is, then you have to see the purpose. Is it a complaint letter? Is it a letter of appreciation? Is it a letter to request something? Is it a letter to apologize? What is the letter about? Write down the purpose of the letter in the very first paragraph. Okay, so this is what you have to do. First you have to identify the type of letter, then you have to find out the purpose of writing the letter, and then once you have identified the purpose of writing the letter, you have to state the purpose or state the reason right in the first paragraph, in fact maybe in the first sentence itself. Keeping the tone consistent, now that you have understood what kind of a letter it is, you have to maintain that tone throughout your letter. Do not become formal in the first paragraph, in the second paragraph you go completely casual, and then again in your last paragraph you end up writing in a formal manner. That would cost you heavily, so don't do that. Address all the bullet points. Yet again, stressed enough on this, so you have to address each and every bullet point carefully and elaborate all your ideas properly, addressing each part of the bullet point. And another important point is that you have to cater to the word limit. So if you write one word lesser than 150 words in your task 1, then you are at a risk of getting penalized and losing your band scores in this particular parameter. So do not do that. Okay, we have understood what needs to be done. Now let's have a look at what needs to be avoided. Do not go off topic. You have to stick to the topic. You do not have to go off topic. Everything should be within the limits of what the question is asking you to do. If the question is asking you why, you don't have to answer what. If the question is asking you when, you do not have to answer how. Just stick to the question completely. Whatever they're asking you to write, just write about that. But when you're writing about that, you have to elaborate it. That's the key agenda. All right. Another important thing that you have to avoid is self assessment. A classic example of self assessment or um, assessing yourself without actually seeking outside help is that students come up to me and they say that, ma'am, is writing or practicing 50 letters or 50 essays would guarantee that I would score more than 7 bands? See, it's not about how much you practice, it's about whether you take the feedback and improve on that feedback or not. So, it's not about writing 100 essays or 50 essays and 20 letters. It's not about how much you practice, it's about taking the feedback and improving upon it. Even if you write 5 letters and get it assessed from a trained and experienced trainer or person who has a certificate in IELTS training, then they'll give you a proper feedback and you'll be in a position to improve upon that feedback. Unless you know what's going wrong in your writing, even if you practice 50 times, you'll end up making the same mistakes again and again, which would not be fruitful at all. So our requirement right now is to write one letter, send it to us or any other trained person that you know, and we would give you a feedback on that. And on that feedback, you write another letter on the next day, keeping in mind that you would not repeat the mistakes that were committed in the previous one. Okay, so this is how it's a step by step process of improving your letter as well as your essay writing. So please, please, please get yourself evaluated, take the feedback, improve yourself, and then get your second writing evaluated again. And it's a loop, it goes on, and that's how you're going to improve yourself. So get your work checked again and again. You might think you are relevant, you might think you're answering to the point and you're answering exactly what the question is asking. But most of the time, the reason behind scoring 6.5 bands is that you're deviating from the topic. Either you're adding something extra that has not been asked in the question, or you're subtracting something, you're not answering to what the question is saying. So, this is something that you should keep in your mind. And if you notice, in case of the 6 band score, it says it presents and adequately highlights key features and bullet points. But the but is very important. But details may be irrelevant, inappropriate, or inaccurate. So, yes, you're catering to what the question is asking. You're highlighting the key features of the bullet points, but you're not writing the relevant and appropriate and accurate information. Okay, so it is little tricky, you get it, you're addressing the features but then you're not accurate in addressing them. So that's where we go wrong. Okay, now we're gonna write a letter live. I'm going to write one letter in front of you, and I would ask you guys to come join me. So I'll give you a few minutes to get your pen and paper ready, and we'll be writing a letter. I'll be writing here, you write on your notebook. But before we begin, I want you to tell me the outline of each and every bullet point. So, how will we be outlining this entire letter? So, let's read the letter first. You and your friend are planning a picnic in the countryside. You and your friend are planning a picnic in the countryside. Write, where do you plan to go? Which arrangements have been made? And how can your friend help with the arrangements? So these are the 3 bullet points, and we have to write this letter to our friend. So what kind of a letter does this become when we have to write it to our friend? Hi Manpreet Kaur. Yes, you can get in touch with me on the number given above. You can call me after the live session and I can have a word with you. Okay, so where do you plan to go? Any suggestions? What can we write here? Yes, exactly. It's an informal letter because we have to write it to our friend, and we share a personal relationship with our friend. So it's definitely an informal letter, correctly mentioned by Bhupinder Singh. All Alright, so how do we write the first bullet point? Let's create an outline sentence. Not outline sentence, I'm sorry for that, outline. So for the first bullet point, what all can we write? So any suggestions? Where do you plan to go? Give me a name. Where can we go? Come on, guys. Okay, let's say we're going to Stanley Park. So some park, you can give the name of any park that you want to. So we are visiting this particular park for our picnic. So that's the answer to our bullet point number 1. Which arrangements have you made? So, okay, now you and your friend are planning to go for a picnic. What all arrangements have you already done for the picnic? Come on, guys, think. Arranged water, okay. So I can say drinking water, all right. Anything else? Okay, but a tent, that would work, but it's a picnic, not a camping site. All right, still consider that. Tent. Okay, anything else? Food. Okay. All right, food is noted. So I want you guys to notice another thing here. The next bullet point says, how can your friend help with the arrangements? So now you have to leave something for your friend as well. If you make all the arrangements, then what will you write in the last bullet point? So you have to leave certain things for your friend as well, that okay, I'll get water, food and tent, and some other things should be arranged by you, so that we divide our responsibilities. The friend can bring whiskey. My throat, I'm sorry. Okay, so Natalia is saying that the friend can bring whiskey, right? So good enough. uh, they meet and discuss. All right. Music, okay. So drinking water, tent, food. I'll leave this space if you guys want to add something else. Now quickly tell me what the friend can bring. So instead of writing whiskey, I'll just say drinks. We don't have to be that precise. Okay. Anything else? Bluetooth speaker. Okay, that can be brought by the friend. So you can extend it by saying Bluetooth speaker for music. Anything else? Booked a room in a hotel. So that is where you deviate from the topic. Thank you for writing this particular comment there, because the question is saying you're going for a picnic. So picnic is in the countryside, and it's more like you're going to be in a playground or in, a park. So you would not rent, or you would not go in a hotel. So that is deviating from the topic, unless you can explain it properly to me. So hotel is something that's indoors, so you're going for a picnic, and picnic is outdoors, so you would not have to book a hotel. Climate conditions, very nice. So climate conditions, I would like to put it here, because since I am writing the letter to my friend, so I am making the basic arrangements of where we should be going, and whether have I checked the climate or not. So I'll also get to that point. Instead of climate, we'll be right weather conditions. Okay, so now what's the difference between weather and climate? Can anybody tell me? What's the difference between weather and climate? Anybody who wants to guess? Okay, come on. Okay, I'll tell you. So, yes, climate is long term. So, climate is over a period of time, or maybe you can say over the period of weeks or months. However, weather is relatively for a shorter duration. For day-to-day purposes, we refer to it as weather. So here we'll be writing weather conditions because you're going for a single day. It's like a day trip. You'll go in the morning or in the evening and come back by night. Okay, so weather conditions. All right, so do you want to add something else here? Items related to playing, that's good, Manpreet Kaur. So yeah, we can say, for example, board games. We can write board games, or we can, you know, write that we could get a skateboard or something like that. I mean, board games seem fine to me. Okay. So now, since we were discussing this entire thing, it took like say 5 minutes to get this outline done. But otherwise, if you're alone and if you're thinking on your own in the examination hall, this entire process would take hardly 1 minute. Trust me, it would take hardly 1 minute to think of the outline, because each bullet point has just one answer. So okay, where do you want to go, or where do you plan to go? Stanley Park. What arrangements have you made? Okay, I have done this. And what do you want your friend to do? Do this. That's it. So it does not require a lot of thinking. It's like something that happens quite instantaneously. Cards. Okay, cards is good. Now, do we need so many suggestions, or like, see, we have to write 150 words, and I guess these points should be fair enough. We can write fairly well by using these points itself. Okay, fine. So now the next step is to write the salutation. So what do we write? Give me a name for a friend. Dear. Okay, I hope everyone is aware we don't write dear sir or madam here. You're writing to a friend. So tell me a name. Suggest a name. So, okay, I'll just make an hypothetical name, Amy. Okay, fine. So, where do you plan to go? How do I start this letter? It's an informal letter. I'm writing to my friends. So, how do I start? Okay, till the time you guys think, I can say that I've checked the weather conditions along with buying the tickets. Okay. So, anybody who wants to tell me how to start the first paragraph or how to address the first bullet point? How do we start the letter? Okay, so you guys can do in your own respective notebooks, and I'll start writing here. Okay. Is this sounding right? here do not mention for any person, so I have problem to write letter. Okay, I didn't get that part. Okay, so I hope you're in good health and as excited as I am for the outing that is scheduled for this Sunday. Is that right? In case of an informal letter, you can use contractions, it's allowed. So I usually suggest that you can use I am, but in case of an informal letter, you can also use contractions. There's no issue in that. Okay, so to avoid any confusion, what we can do is we can make it am itself. Okay, I hope you are in good health and as excited as I am for the outing that is scheduled for this Sunday. Oh, nice, Bhupinder. I hope this letter finds you in pink of your health. I am writing this letter to discuss about a picnic that has been planned by me. Has been. So please write been there. And apart from that, I am writing this letter to discuss is formal in nature. So that gives it a formal essence. So instead of that, what we can do is you can simply say, I wanted to discuss about the picnic. Okay. So after our last discussion, we have finally decided to visit the Stanley Park as this is the best time of the year to do so. Alright, so in this paragraph, we have given the reason of writing the letter in the very first paragraph that we are here to discuss. To discuss about the outing that is scheduled on Sunday, and we have also mentioned what the first bullet point is asking us to do. It's asking us where do we plan to go, and we have mentioned that we are planning to go to Stanley Park. All right, so that's about it for this paragraph. You can add a few more lines if you want to. Okay, so let's move on to the next bullet point. Which arrangements have you made? Let us divide So basically, you are dividing the responsibilities, and the reason behind writing this particular sentence is that the second and the third points are asking you to talk about what you are going to do and what your friend is going to do. So in the first part, or we may in the second body paragraph, we are basically going to talk about what I am going to do or what I have done and what I am requesting my friend to do. All right. So let us divide our responsibilities to make the preparations for it easier. So you can say, to begin with, I have Okay, so to begin with, I have called the park administrators to confirm the price of the tickets. So you can also write entry tickets here. And we'll be booking them soon, or we'll be booking it soon. Okay. What else? So we had written drinking water, tent, food, weather conditions. It soon. So let's think about the weather conditions. How can we frame a sentence for the weather conditions point? Okay, moreover, I will be carrying a tent along as it might drizzle slightly on that day considering the weather forecast. So, if you notice in this particular sentence, not only have I covered 2 points and connected them together, but I have also used good words that would enhance the vocabulary. So, this is how you basically uplift your lexical resources. And if you are observing this particular thing, I have not used any heavy words here. I have not used any complicated words. I've just kept it very simple, but I've used the words that maybe to a person, to a student who's writing for the first time, might not come to their mind. Okay. What else should we write? I guess this is enough. If you want to add the other points like food and drinking water, you can say I take the responsibility, or I would be preparing food or preparing dinner for us. Right? You can write some statement like that. I am thinking that we are going to cross the word limit, so we don't really have to write that. Okay. All right, I guess this should be more than enough. Now let's move on to the next one. The other or the last bullet point is, how can your friend help with the arrangements? Okay, we have drinks, Bluetooth speaker for music, board games, and cards. I hope you guys are writing at home as well. So, having said that, which basically means I have given you my side of the story. I've told you what I have to do or what I have done. Now, having said that, I want you to take care of these things. So, having said that, you can say I would request you to, or you can say I would like you to. So, I would to bring your Bluetooth speaker along with an amazing, so you can say an amazing playlist appropriate for the occasion. All right. Also, do not forget So do not forget the board games and cards, because I will love to reminisce my childhood days by playing them with you. Okay, sounds good. Do you guys want to add something else? You can add that, please pick me up from so and so location at so and so time. So yeah, that line can be added here. Uh, so on so and so date, you can write any date, so 5th of March or something like that. On 5th of March, pick me up from my house at, let's say, 4 p.m. or 4 in the evening. Then you just say, looking forward to enjoying the day with you. Best regards. And then you write your name. Alright, so this is how you do it, and so certain sentences can totally be removed and added according to whatever ideas come to your mind. So I'm just writing whatever ideas you had discussed here. So okay, have a look at it and tell me if you want to make any changes and if you have any doubts with regards to this letter. So in case if you're falling short of words, you can add what are his or her favorite Chinese cuisines. So you can say such as this, and then you can add other words like delicious, and instead of writing tasty, you can also write I've already ordered mouth-watering Chinese cuisines for you. So these are the words that you can add on. Right now my focus was on the task achievement parameter. So we have addressed each and every task completely. We have told where we plan to go. We have also mentioned what are the arrangements that have been made and what you want your friend to do. Yeah, you can also write if any friends have any further information, you can call me. Okay, now this part is a little tricky. I usually suggest not to write this calling part anywhere. Let's go back to the days of letter writing when there were no calls, because if there is this possibility of calling someone, then why are you even writing the letter? So it's not required, right? So do not mix up mobile phone and calls here, that's not required. uh, Whenever you're writing a letter, imagine as if you're in those days when there were no phones. And Bhupinder is asking whether contractions are allowed. See, technically, contractions are allowed in your informal writing. However, I suggest that you just use contractions in your speaking test and you use no contractions whatsoever in your writing. So, all your essays, all your letters, all your academic task one, everything has to be written in a formal manner, which means that contractions should not be used. Okay, so I guess we're done with this. Let's get back to okay, so any questions, anything that anyone wants to ask? So this was live writing. You can improvise on this, you can improve upon this, and I'm pretty sure you have a decent idea with regards to how we have to achieve our task response. Now I'll just tell you about our courses and what we basically teach. So yeah. Okay, so our personalized one-to-one courses are going to help you achieve the band score that you desire, and you don't have to worry about watching boring lectures, because we are here to give you an interactive session, and we'll be giving these sessions on Skype. So you can enroll into our course and there'll be just you and the trainer, and the trainer is a certified trainer who has an experience of more than 2 years. So you just enroll into the course, and as soon as you do that, we would provide you with all the study material on your email ID, and then starts your session. So each session would be for 1 hour, and you would get the individual attention, dedicated attention of the trainer for one complete hour. And we offer a very practical approach. Each session is a mock test in itself. So as soon as you enroll, every session that you take with us is going to be a mock test. So basically the timings would be according to your choice. It's going to be flexible, and the fee structure is going to be affordable. You can call us and check for it. And one second. And you don't have to worry about the quality. You can have a demo session with us and check for yourself. For now, that's it. Any questions are welcome. All right, then I'm winding up. I hope this session was fruitful for you. The live writing was something that you liked, and you understood the practicality of how we go about writing letters and what needs to be done and what needs to be avoided. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for staying with us, and thank you so much for viewing this entire live session. Hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to having you in the next session as well. Thank you so very much.